Okay, episode 10 of American Horror Story Asylum, The Name Game. So, after the mid-series finale, or like three-quarters series finale, whatever you want to call it, there was like a 2-week break for Christmas. Now it's back on, so I was more excited than usual for this episode than the others, since, 2 weeks had been since the last episode. So, The Name Game. Great episode per usual. I mean, as I always say, great episode, and yeah, another really good episode. And what should I talk about first? There's two things in this episode, two really big things I want to talk about here. For starters, I'll go through the minor things. Pepper was awesome, like she was hilarious. I mean, without going into spoilers, if you watched episode 9, you know that Pepper is kind of, well, there's something going on with her, basically, after episode 9. So in episode 10, we get to see a lot more of her after what happened to her over the previous episodes. And she's hilarious, I can't go into too much stuff like spoilers, but basically she interacts with Dr. Arden quite a lot in this episode. And she's pretty funny. Like, the stuff she says to him and everything, I thought that was great. And also, Dr. Arden, I felt really bad for him in this episode. I mean, the thing is, it's like, yeah, he's a Nazi, or he was a Nazi. Like, he's tortured, like, a bunch of patients from the asylum. And apparently a bunch of Jews as well back in the concentration camp. So it's kind of like, it's weird feeling bad for him. Because of course, like, he's a horrible character. He's a horrible guy. But even though he's done all of these horrible things and he never showed mercy to anyone else, it's kind of like, I still feel pretty bad for him. Because some things, basically some bad things happen to him in this episode. Like, there's a scene with him and Pepper at the very beginning where he's kind of, I can't go into too much for spoilers, but she's kind of like threatening him and everything. I kind of just felt really bad for him, especially the scene with him in the woods. If you've seen the episode, you know what I'm talking about. But the scene with him in the woods, I thought that was, I kind of felt bad for him there. Like, he is like a really horrible person, but I don't know, I see past all that and I still feel bad for him. It's kind of weird, but I felt really guilty for him. We get to see a lot more of Joseph Fiennes in this episode, who plays Timothy Howard. I think that was his name, right? You know, the priest. But we see a lot more of him in this episode. Like, this is the most screen time he has ever had in any of the episodes. So it's cool to finally see more of him, because he was more of a background character until now. But what he does in this episode kind of redeems. What he does in this episode, like, he does do some big things, but he's kind of been promoted to a main character because of what happens in this episode. That's basically how much I can say without giving spoilers. So it's cool that we get to see more of him. He's getting a bigger role now. We're getting to see a lot more of him. The alien storyline is being moved on quite a lot once again. I mean, it was like a really long break from episode 3 to episode 8 without them continuing the alien storyline, and now they are finally moving it on once again. I'm enjoying the storyline, the alien storyline. Like, it's weird, but, you know, that's the point. Like, it's entertaining. It's fun trying to figure out what the aliens are up to. Like, it's still not entirely clear what the aliens are exactly doing, but it's fun stuff, though. I'm liking the alien storyline. I know there's a lot of people out there that really doesn't like it, so if you're one of those people who really dislikes the alien storyline, brace yourself, because this episode is alien heavy, let's say. There's a lot of, like, alien business going on in this episode. So you may not, like, you may be put off on this episode because of the alien storyline. The one moment, again without giving spoilers, but the moment where a certain character put a gun against their own head, I thought that was a really, like, shocking moment. Like I said, not going to go into it because of spoilers, but basically the moment where the character put the gun to their head, I thought that was a brilliant moment, and I was like my heart was in my mouth, like I couldn't believe what they were about to do. So that moment was, like, really shocking. That really caught me off guard. That was really unexpected. So basically in the episode, a certain character puts a gun to their head. Who it is, watch the episode. Spoilers, yeah, you know. I'm not going to say spoilers' sake. Okay, so moving on. Several storylines end in this episode, and they end in a way where it's clear they will not be brought up once again. There are a number of storylines which end in this episode, and because they've ended in this episode, they've kind of felt really pointless. I mean, these are, like, big storylines that you would expect to last until the end of the season. But, like, basically, let's say, like Ryan Murphy already said this, Like, this is a commonly known fact, let's say. But basically, people die in this episode. And we're talking main characters, not background characters. Huge characters die in this episode. So I will give Ryan Murphy credit. Like, he has balls, I'll give him that. Like, there's some pretty bold moves, let's say, in this episode, because really big characters die in this episode. And it's not as if there's only one character either. Several main characters die in this episode. And when he said that, I kind of, like, I was trying to think of who they would kill off, and I never ever expected them to kill off the characters that died in this episode. I mean, I genuinely did not expect these characters to die. So I will give them credit for being really unexpected. Like, no way, like I said, I was so shocked when these people died. I did not expect them to die. I was so sure they were going to last until the end of the season. But that's American Horror Story for you, you know? Like, they always kill off, like, main characters left, right and centre. So this episode's no exception. I mean, just wow. I'll give him credit for being unexpected. I really did not expect it. I genuinely did not see this coming, these characters dying. But at the same time, while the deaths are well done, don't get me wrong, the deaths are, like, great. They're really well done and whatnot, but the thing is, the characters that die, their storylines have ended now, and their storylines were really big. Like, they had a big impact on the season, and because they've gotten killed off so early and they haven't lasted until the finale, overall their stories kind of seem really pointless. Like, in the overall grand scheme of things, because these characters have died now, their stories have kind of felt kind of pointless. I mean, there's some really huge, like, missed I don't know, like, this missed potential, basically. These storylines could have been explored a lot more, but instead they've kind of just ended these storylines all of a sudden, and it's kind of like, really, you're just gonna end it like that and say no more about it? Like, I don't think they're gonna say anything more about it in the future. Ryan Murphy already said on an interview with Entertainment Weekly that one of these storylines for sure will not be revisited. It is over, it's done. So I feel as if it's kind of missed potential. Like, some of these storylines weren't explored fully, in my opinion, so I'm kind of disappointed in that respect. But at the same time, I'm kind of like, it's cool that they killed off these people because it's so unexpected. But, you know, I kind of have mixed feelings about killing off these characters because, like I said, their storylines could have been like elaborated on a lot more, and overall their stories just feel kind of pointless in the grand scheme of things. It's kind of like, so, like, what was the big deal? Like, you know, I'll get into spoilers, but I'm leaving it at that for now. So I only have one more thing to talk about in this episode, and well, if you've seen the episode, you certainly know what I'm talking about here. But the episode is called The Name Game, and if you've seen the episode, you know what scene I'm talking about here. I don't want to say what the scene is, because you really should watch this episode without knowing what this scene is, because this scene, it has to be seen without knowing that it's going to happen for the, you know, for the scene to have its full effect. I mean, wow, just, it's kind of like, how can you have a TV show with a title sequence as creepy as it does, with a title sequence as creepy as it is, and then have this scene in the same TV show? Like, American Horror Story, it's constantly going out of its way sometimes to shock us. Like, that's kind of part of the charm of American Horror Story. Like, it does sometimes it's just doing stuff like just to shock the audience. Like, that's part of the charm. Like some of the stuff is pretty edgy, let's say, for a TV show, pretty twisted or pretty dark. But basically, that's one of the that's part of the charm or the appeal of American Horror Story. How basically shocking or unexpected or insane the show can be. I mean, insane is the perfect word to use to describe the show. I mean, previously, beforehand, the shocks that the show would give you would always come from either killing off a main character really early on, or just at a really unexpected moment, or just doing something like really disgusting or disturbing, for a TV show at least. Like, you know, previously they were constantly up in the ante with how, you know, gory or disturbing they could do stuff like school shootings, teen suicides, babies and children getting like burned alive or smothered or cut up and turned into Frankenstein monsters, makeshift abortions, crucifixion, etc, etc, you know. The list goes on. But previously, beforehand, the shocks of the show were more about, you know, that sort of stuff, like mutilations, like people getting tortured or killed or horribly maimed or raped or murdered, etc, etc. That's like how the show was kind of delivering the shocks beforehand. But they've just done something in this episode which is just unexpected. That's really all I can say. It's just really shocking. I mean, you don't see, you're not going to see this coming. Unfortunately for me, I read one of Ryan Murphy's interviews, and he did spoil this scene in an interview before this episode was aired, so I had it spoiled for me by reading Ryan Murphy's interview, so I was kind of pissed off about that. I mean, I wish I could just erase my memory and watch this episode without realising that scene would be coming up, because as the scene began, I was kind of like, oh, I know what's going to happen here because Ryan Murphy already said what's going to happen. So I was like, I was kind of disappointed that he had to spoil it in the interview. I wish he could have resisted doing that. So what did I think about the scene itself? So of course it was shocking, but I think I loved it. I really liked it. Now there's certainly going to be people out there who absolutely despise this scene, but you know, just go with it. I mean, it's fun. I mean, the show is really dark and depressing. And like, you know, it's fun, but it has a lot of really dark, depressing moments, especially when my favourite character has just been killed off in this episode. Like, I was really pissed off at that. I mean, they did it to my favourite character in season 1. I'm not going to say it in case someone's watching this without seeing season 1, but basically they killed off my favourite character in season 1. I was so sad when he died. Well, he didn't exactly die, but I can't go into that spoilers. But basically, American Horror Story seems to have a reputation, or is building a reputation, for killing off my favourite characters. That's what it's always doing. But to be fair, almost everyone died in season 1, so it's not as if they're specifically targeting my favourite characters. But you know, it's always sad to see your favourite character go. But anyway, off topic. Let's move back to the this scene, the name game scene. Let's refer to that. I thought it was awesome. Pepper in it, her facial expressions were amazing in it. Like, it was just a really happy scene. And like I said, I wish I watched this episode without knowing this scene was in it, because it would have come to me as a total mindfuck. Like, just watching this episode without realising what was going to happen in this scene. But even though I knew what was going to happen in the scene, it was still a lot of fun. And it's great though. Like, American Horror Story, it's insane. It's a crazy ass show. So previously the shocks were all about the gore and like disturbing stuff. Now it's just about doing stuff which is just insane. And that's exactly what the scene was. It was crazy. Like, even watching it, I was like, I can't believe this is actually happening. Like, wow. Like, American Horror Story doing this, wow. I think they should do it once a season as well. That's what I think. They should do one scene like this in every single season. Just how they should have one masked villain in every season. And we find out who this masked villain is, like halfway through the season or 3/4 or whatever. Like, first one was Rubberman, this time it's Bloodyface. Just how they do the same with the masked villains every season. I think they should have, well, this scene in every season. Like I said, I can't say what it is for spoilers' sake. I don't want to ruin it for those of you who haven't seen the episode, but there's a scene in this episode which is really, really not like American Horror Story. I'm leaving it at that. It's really Ryan Murphy though, I can say that. I think I've said enough. So that's what I have to say. I'm going to move on to spoilers now, so leave now if you don't want to spoil it. So overall, awesome episode. Okay, I'm going into spoilers now, so you have like 5 seconds to leave. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's move on to spoilers. So they killed off Dr. Arden, the Nazi, played by James Cromwell, the amazing James Cromwell. And they also killed off Sister Eunice, aka the Devil, played by Lily Rabe. I think Lily, don't get me wrong, Lily Rabe is what she was awesome. I mean, she's like one of the highlights of this season. But James Cromwell, I was so pissed off when he died, because aside from the fact he's an awesome actor, he's my favourite character as well. Like, what the hell? I mean, like, his Nazi storyline should have been explored a lot more, in my opinion. Like, it was kind of just like briefly touched upon in episodes 4 and 5, then they kind of just left it alone from there. So it's kind of like, yeah, okay, so what was going on? So like, I don't know, it kind of felt pointless overall. And also the mutant storyline, like, of course, when he's in the woods, he kills all of the he kills like 5 mutants. And I'm not sure if that's all of them. Obviously, the episode's kind of left it open to our own interpretation. So maybe there's some more mutants left alive. Because the thing is, we still don't know who ripped off Adam Levine's arm in episode 1. We still don't know what ripped off his arm. There wasn't Bloodyface. That's a common misconception. In case some of you go to, type down in the comments, it was not Bloodyface. Bloodyface did not rip off Adam Levine's arm in 2012. It's something else that we don't know about. I'm assuming it might be a mutant. Oh, I don't know. Maybe it's Grace's baby. That's what I'm thinking. Like, obviously, the aliens are up to something. Like, I don't think the aliens are good. I think they're gonna more obviously become, I think they're gonna become more apparent villains in the next few episodes. But basically, I don't trust the baby. I think that baby that Grace gave birth to is gonna be like, I don't know, turn into some sort of monster or something. And I think that may be what ripped off Adam Levine's arm in 2012. Either that or a mutant. That's really all it could be, I think. Oh yeah, okay, so the mutant storyline, that's kind of just ended, and it's kind of like, so, once again, relating back to Dr. Arden, it's kind of like, they were like a really strong part of his story, and they really briefly touched upon the mutants, so overall the mutants kind of felt pointless. I felt as if Ryan Murphy just wanted to throw in a bunch of random different horror elements into this, into the show, but like he didn't really care about developing them. He just wanted them there in the show, but he wasn't really too interested in developing some of these storylines. So the zombie mutant storyline, or whatever you want to call it, the Raspers, they kind of felt really pointless. So it's kind of like Dr. Arden just kills them all in this episode. That's it. And like, stuff like their origins or how Arden had created them, I know it was briefly touched upon in episode 6, but I wish they went into more detail. Like, there's so much stuff about Dr. Arden's storyline, which I wish they went into more detail about. So I don't know, I just felt as if it was kind of like, I was basically disappointed. That's why I was just disappointed. I felt as if his storyline is kind of ended really abruptly, let's say, and the zombie mutant storyline is kind of like, once again, they didn't explore these storylines enough. Missed potential. That's what I'm saying. Okay, I think I've said enough about Dr. Arden. I'm kind of talking in circles there, just rambling on as I do. Okay, next thing to talk about is going to be Sister Mary Eunice, the devil. So she was possessed by the devil, of course. Ryan Murphy has confirmed that the storyline is over. The devil did not jump into Joseph Fiennes when he pushed Eunice over the balcony. The devil's storyline is done, and also the Angel of Death said to Eunice, "I'm taking both of you," when she kissed her. Now, some people are saying, well, maybe Joseph Fiennes got her pregnant when she raped him. Oh yeah, female on male rape. So that's another thing American Horror Story has done. Like, they're not gonna have much stuff left. They're going through all of these different crazy like things they can do rather quickly. Okay, but yeah, some people think that Joseph Fiennes got Eunice pregnant when she raped him. So that's what the Angel of Death means when she said that I'm taking both of you. That's what some people have suggested. But I'm just saying, Ryan Murphy has confirmed in an interview that the devil storyline is done. It's not coming back. So yeah. The devil storyline is over. I feel as if it's fine. I didn't feel as if that was underdeveloped at all. That's just fine. They handled that well enough, I felt. The slow motion shot of Eunice falling to her death was kind of lame, I felt. It kind of felt awkward to watch, I don't know. Like, I don't know, the effects or whatever, the slow motion, it didn't really sit right with me. I wasn't a fan of that. But moving on to, what's that one thing? Oh yeah. One thing I'm really disappointed about is that we didn't get a showdown between the devil and the aliens. I mean, obviously the devil and aliens exist in the same universe. It's a contradiction in itself because you got God versus science, that sort of shit. So, like, obviously that's kind of part of the ridiculousness of the show, of, how insane the show is. The fact that aliens and the devil exist in the same universe, exist in the show. But the fact that they have the devil and aliens in the same show is kind of like, how can they not have a showdown between the two entities? But no, the alien storyline is still ongoing, and then they just end the devil storyline right here. So it's like, you're going to end the devil storyline without having a showdown between the aliens? That's another thing I'm really disappointed about. There needed to be, I was so sure there was going to be a showdown in the finale between the devils and the aliens. I was like, what? Like, So again, I was really like, that was really unexpected when they killed off her. But now it's kind of like, what storylines do they have left? Because previously, this show was jam-packed. They had so many like different crazy storylines going on. I mean, oh my god, it's kind of like, what the, you know, how are they going to wrap this up in 4 episodes? And then this one episode just like ends a bunch of storylines. This one episode does. So Nazi storyline gone. The mutants apparently gone. There may be 1 or 2 left. I don't know. Maybe there's some still left alive. But the devil storyline gone. Like Dr. Ardon as a villain gone again. Like, you know, the Nazi hunter was killed in episode 6. I mean, it's kind of like now the only storylines they have is the alien storyline and the Bloody Face storyline. Well, you could split up Bloody Face into 2 stories, I suppose, because you've got Bloody Face 1964 and Bloody Face 2012, and then so you have those 2 storylines and the aliens, which makes 3 storylines if we know how to count, which we do. So we've got 3 storylines. So it's kind of like, what now? I don't know. Like, I'm not sure. I can't see the alien or Bloody Face like these 2 storylines sustaining the last 3 episodes. Like, you know, of course I'm going to give it a chance and see where we go with this. Like, I'm interested in seeing how Ryan Murphy handles these 3 episodes, but it's kind of like, we had so much different crazy things going on in these episodes. Like Killer Santa Claus, the Angel of Death, the Devil, possessing the sexy nun. You got the zombie mutants, the Nazi. You got all this crazy stuff going on, and all of a sudden, you've just got 3 things left. This one episode eliminated everything, and you got 3 like stories left. So I'm interested in seeing how they handle these things. Yeah, I think that I'm really all I have to say here. The musical number, of course, is what I was referring to when I was talking about that really shocking scene, like, oh my god, what the hell was that about? That was an awesome scene, I really enjoyed it, the musical number. So I think they should have a musical number in every single episode. However, I'm not 100% sure on this, don't quote me, I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure I read somewhere in an interview, I think, if memory serves, I think that Jessica Lange said in an interview, or Ryan Murphy did, I said that originally they were only doing 1 musical number, but Jessica Lange said to Ryan Murphy that she had so much fun doing the first musical number in this episode, she asked if she could do another one. And then Ryan Murphy said, yeah, sure. So there's going to be another musical number in this season, and I think that's a big mistake. Like, you should restrict it to 1 musical number per season, and I feel as if they do it twice in the same season, it's going to lose the impact. I mean, like, doing the first time was really cool because of how unexpected, like, even though I had a spot for me, but it was really cool and just like wacky as hell, like, wow, like, you know, even though I knew it was coming, I was like, whoa, oh my god, what the hell's going on? I can't believe they're actually doing this in American Horror Story. Like, even though, like, it was fun and all, but I feel as if doing it 2 times is, like, going to be a big mistake. The final thing I'm going to talk about is the clue for season 3. So Ryan Murphy said that there's a clue in this episode for what season 3 will be about. I'm basically just, I'm bringing nothing new to the table here. I'm just basically repeating what everyone else has said because I totally agree what everyone else is suggesting. And basically what I agree with is that the 3rd season will revolve around voodoo or witches, or the Salem witch trials. I'm not sure if I pronounced that right. Salem, whatever, Salem. I don't know. However you pronounce it, you know, S-A-L-E-M, the witch trials. That's basically what the 3rd one's going to revolve around, I think. I mean, they've already done, like, ghosts, hauntings, you know, killers on a regular basis, you know, religious stuff like the devil, the angel, they've done aliens now, Nazis, you know, human experiments, you know, humans being assholes to other humans. They've done that sort of stuff. So I guess the next big thing they can do is witches. I mean, that's the next, like, obvious thing they can do. So there we go. I guess you know, things are next. Witches. They don't, what's it, put a spell on, I've put a spell on you playing on the jukebox. That's the clue everyone thinks, everyone is thinking about. I can't remember, I think there's another clue related to witches or related to, like, magic somewhere in the episode. I can't quite remember where that was. Oh yeah, the other, so aside from witches, some people think it's going to be the witch trials. The other thing a lot of people are suggesting, maybe it's going to be a carnival, like a carnival of freaks or something like that. Like some sort of, like, carny, you know, travelling carnival kind of thing. with you know, I mean, you know, that has potential in itself, because you can just have a really crazy cast of characters, like, you know, a bunch of freaks, like, I'm not saying that in a bad way, but you know what I mean, like a bunch of members of this carnival with unique qualities. I guess that's a politically correct way of putting it. Okay, so yeah, carnival, carnies, traveling carnival, a traveling freak show, something like that. They could do that for season 3 as well. Like, I'm talking about what Pepper was talking about. She's, you know, she's constantly going on about how, you know, you view us as freaks just because of the way we act or the way we look. She keeps going on about that sort of shit in the first scene. So there we go. Could be a traveling freak show for the 3rd season. So either that or some sort of witches, you know, based season, something like that. Yeah, that's done. I'm done. That's episode 10. So episode 11, 12 and 13, I'll be doing them, of course. 3 more episodes left. Can't wait to see how they wrap up the alien storyline and the bloody face storyline. Also, we might finally get to see someone getting skinned alive. I did say this in my one of my previous reviews. This is just me being a gorehound, but I really want to see them skin someone alive. Like, they're going through all of the mutilations they can possibly do, like decapitation, amputation, rape, like female on female or male on female, etc. Stuff like school shootings, teen suicides, etc, etc. You know, they're going through every single thing in the book you could possibly ever do. And it's going to get to the point where they run out of everything they can ever do. But I do think they better show us someone getting skinned alive, or at least having their face carved off by Bloodyface 2012, and that's what's going to happen. That's what it looks like, because Dylan McDur, I don't know his last name, but Dylan, you know, Bloodyface 2012, he is kind of, what does he say to her? Like, some girl sitting on his couch, and she's like, how badly do you want me? And he's like, I'd kill for it. He says something along those lines, and you know, obviously it's not going to end well for her. So hopefully this is going to be our chance to see American Horror Story do that. I mean, you can make a checklist of mutilations American Horror Story has left. So skinning someone alive, done. They haven't done. Oh yeah, they did drowning in the 2nd episode of the 1st season. They've kind of done drowning. They've touched upon it briefly. Yeah. Okay. I'm ending there. Right there. That's it. Okay. So episode 10, the name game, done. Thanks for watching. See ya.